Hi, this is Mai Harrison, and I'm with Sophie from Signal Films. Welcome.
Hello.
You've got a special project you're working on. Could you tell me a bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm working on a project with Kez from Signal Film and Media. It's just the two of us. It's a queer story collecting project, sort of like an oral histories, but there's much more to it. But essentially, we're asking for stories from queer people in Cumbria, and we're asking people to share those with us. And what the idea is that we want to place queer people into the Cumbrian landscape by attaching these stories to particular places. So when I'm asking for these stories, I'm wanting people to tell experiences that have happened, and they can attach it to whether that's a building, somewhere natural, a town centre. I have made an example video myself, recounting a story about a music venue. So if there's any places that local people might be aware of, we're asking people to send us these stories, and that will inform a larger project. So that's essentially it in a nutshell.
How do you, if I wanted to send a story, how would I do that?
So there's a number of ways of sending it, and I'm aware that not everyone would want to send a video submission. So video submission is the first way you can get involved. You can send audio only. You can send a written story. And if none of those things are something that you would be comfortable doing, I'm also looking for people to just generally get involved because the project is going to be a larger thing moving forward. So if people are interested still, they can still contact me and we can see how they can get on board.
You said this is going to be a sort of a long-term project. So is there a particular date that you need stories by?
No, I think currently because the situation's so uncertain and we're not sure when normal activity is going to resume, this project is just staying open for the duration. So at a certain point when guidelines are more clear, we'll be able to make a call on that. But for now, my inbox is open for anyone to get in touch.
So where should they send it to, or how should they contact you for more information?
So I would suggest that people email me. My email is Sophie, that's with a PH, at signalfilmandmedia.co.uk. We've also been putting some stuff out on our Facebook, so if you follow Signal Film and Media, there's stuff there as well. If you want to contact me even before you submit a story or anything like that, and you just want to chat a little bit about the project and the details of it, then I'm totally open to starting a dialogue as well, because I understand that it's quite a daunting thing to just send your story off into the ether.
So Cumbria Pride, the first ever Cumbria Pride, was supposed to be, I think it was the last weekend in May, but obviously this is Pride Month. I've only lived here for just over 10 years now, so I don't really know what the history is in the area, what's maybe changed, or why it's so important that we do this project now, featuring sort of locations in the county.
Well, I think that I grew up in, I'm actually from Dalton, but I spent a lot of time in Barrow. And I think that really when I was growing up, I felt that I didn't belong in that place. And I felt that I was almost quite alien. And I'd hoped that I actually moved away when I was 18 and I live in Manchester now, as well as I work at Signal Film Media. So I go between the two. And I think that spending time in a place like Manchester where I could feel completely free to be myself, and then I come back to Barrow and I'm still hearing stories of young people feeling the feelings that I had, like 20 years ago or something like that. I just feel like I've got a lot of energy to change that. And I think that it's about time that we start saying our stories and sharing these experiences, and for the reputation and what people think of Barrow to not be just this two-dimensional view that we have of it, I suppose.
One of the terms that you've used is queer, and I think for anybody who sort of identifies as queer, it makes perfect sense to them, but somebody who's from the outside. So could you explain what that term really sort of, what that encompasses?
Yeah, so queer is an umbrella term, and I suppose it's very similar to LGBTQ plus. So it's sort of all encompassing, gay, bi, lesbian, all of these identities all in one. And I think it's an interesting word actually, because it was a slur back in the day, and it's been something that's been reclaimed by the community. So yeah, hopefully that's understandable, me labeling the project as queer, but yeah, anyone with any sort of identity can fit into it.
Well, it's quite cool because when you're talking about people's experiences, it's sort of allowing for a lot of different experiences because being bi or lesbian in South Cumbria 20 years ago might have been very different, or a different experience for a person with a different identity. So it sort of opens up even more stories, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I'm very aware of plenty of queer people living in the area. And I suppose that from conversations that I've had with a lot of people is that they don't feel that they can fully show themselves. And I suppose that's why this project has been one that's been brewing in the back of my mind for a while.
Well, thank you so much. Can you remind us how to get involved with your project?
Yes, of course. So if you have a story that you're willing to share, you can send it to me by video. You can send me an audio recording, a written paragraph of your story experience, or just get in touch with me by email, which is Sophie with a PH at signalfilmandmedia.co.uk. And we can just have a chat about how you can get involved and understand what you're comfortable with.
Thank you so much. I really love talking with you today, and I look forward to sort of following up in the future how the project develops.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.